When you're the most visible woman in the most visible game series in history, you're inevitably going to be used as a measuring stick for other women in games. Peach is arguably the most prominent female character in the history of video games. And she is despised. She's pretty much become the most constant argument of poor representation of women and the face of damsels in distress in pretty much all mediums. So I'm here to show you that there's more to Peach than just getting kidnapped all the time. Now, I'm mainly going to bring up games where Peach is playable, since everyone who isn't player-controlled in Mario games is unreliable whether enemy or friend, and this is a show where I try to accentuate the positives while only slightly touching on the negatives. In general, it's always easier for players to attach themselves to a character when there's a bigger connection to the player's actions, so looking through games where Peach is more controllable is a good place to see where she can be likable. While most people first encountered Peach by finishing Super Mario Bros., I wasn't good enough to beat Mario 1 when I was starting out All-Stars, so my first exposure to Peach was in Super Mario Bros. 2. Yeah, Doki Doki Panic, whatever, Glide's canon, the Shy Guys canon, game's canon at this point. Anyway, Peach is easily the best character in the game for someone new to the game, or someone trying to explore what's beyond the scope of the current screen. Her glide lets you jump further by hovering for a period of time, which allows for jumps that otherwise may be inaccessible. The core mechanic alone has a warm feel to it in regular areas. There's something incredibly reassuring about her hover, as it gives an extra sense of safety to your landing, as you have much more time to plan where you land. Her role as a comfortable and welcoming playable character is a good option for new players and those trying to find something new in the game. Even in Mario 3 she was helpful, as she doesn't actually get kidnapped until the end of the Pipe Dreams world. Up to that point, she sent you some of the rarest items in the game along with gameplay tips. That's it for the main series, at least on the consoles I own, but it isn't the end of our journey, or I would have been more analytical on how Peach differs from the others in Super Mario Bros. 2. If you're looking for more experimentation with the characters in the Mario games, the spin-offs are where you should look at the most. Different playable genres, different playable characters, actually having characters with depth are all basically absent in the main series. Yes, there's obviously one exception, don't type her name in the comments yet. The core games only serve to innovate in gameplay and aesthetic presentation. If you want more story and characters, you're looking in the wrong place. While the main series tends to use Peach's most well-known role as a quick and dirty means of establishing context to allow them to concentrate on gameplay and art, spin-offs are where Peach gets the most time to shine. The earliest example I know of where Peach gets to stand out is Super Mario RPG. I've mentioned before how she feels comforting to play. Well, nothing is more comforting than her healing in this game. This is also where Peach gets to be more personable, as she gets to react to new situations as they happen with the enjoyably expressive 3D model. The cheeky and humorous dialogue gives Peach many moments to show some personality and have some fun with the possible character interactions, particularly with Bowser. Her gameplay was a lot like her personality, cheery yet explosive. Her incredible healing moves make her a godsend to new players who don't know the full extent of health management, and her attacks get remarkably potent over time. Sky Bombs and Frying Pans are the 1-2 punch that complement full heal group hugs and reviving characters by asking them to come back. It takes time to unlock her as a playable character, and it takes a while before her physical and magical attacks are strong enough to use, but it is so worth it in the end. Her perspective in Thousand Year Door was also really interesting. As opposed to Super Mario RPG, which is a bit of a subversion of Peach's usual role, Thousand Year Door is more of an exploration of what is still possible in that situation. She's a vulnerable captive who bypasses potentially more lethal consequences to aid in her own rescue. Her minigame-esque sections are a welcome change of pace from the usual journey, and the calm mood juxtaposes well with Bowser's sections, which usually follow hers. Even with these less involved moments, I've always liked the way Peach carries herself most of the time. She always seems bright and cheery, which I've always thought is very welcoming, and the presentation really sells her as the most kind-hearted person imaginable. This pairs well with the humorous and really surreal writing. Thousand Year Door's Peach sections serve not as a direct rebellion to typical Mario tropes as some may desire, but as a great expansion of the existing story and characters that, just like this video series is intended to, accentuate the positives and make it easier to appreciate everything that was already good. My most recent Peach experience has been from the Smash series, where I've really enjoyed learning some of her little intricacies and tricks. She plays like an execution-heavy air turtle character, at least that's how I play her, and in spite of being a light character, she's pretty hard to knock down. She's easy to learn, hard to master, but more forgiving in how to play than other beginner-friendly characters. I'm nowhere near tournament level, but I can have a good time chucking veggies and air attacking my foes. Now, there aren't games I've played, fully played, or refreshed myself on, such as Superstar Saga, where Peach is genuinely awful, Super Princess Peach, where she's enjoyable even if the game is a bit too slow and easy for my liking, and New Super Mario 3D World, where she looks fun to play but I'm too cheap to buy a Wii U. I didn't even touch on some of the hidden lore in the original Mario, where Peach basically serves to repair any damage by King Koopa, but I'm not doing this as a history of Princess Peach. I did this because I feel like people choose to despise Princess Peach because they feel like they have to. I didn't actually know people disliked Princess Peach until I got in the online community, because I always liked her. I never thought much of her role in Super Mario 1 and 3, and only ever saw her a few times because I was usually preoccupied by the fact that, hey, I just beat the game. She was a character I enjoyed using in Super Mario Bros. 2, and the triple team of Mario, Peach, and Bowser in Super Mario RPG was my absolute favorite. It's definitely true that her role in the story is basic and predictable, but that doesn't mean that there can't be more to her and that people can't be fond of her. If somebody grows to like Peach for how comforting she can feel to play, what does it matter if it's within the main series or not? You're attached to that character. I'd like to see all Mario fans justify his loud crying in Yoshi's Island. I'm sure in games where character selection is purely aesthetic like Mario Party or sports games, there are a sizable portion who just play her simply because they like the way she looks. Besides, I've always felt the best way to make a character more likable is to make the game they're in worth replaying through fun, satisfaction, fulfillment, or engagement. All the games in which I detailed Peach extensively are all really fun games that I play because they're good, and Peach is a part of the reason why they're good. Yeah, I could have done a video on Rosalina, but two things here. One, I gotta leave some of the obvious choices for later. But secondly, I wanted to show that you can appreciate a character for reasons other than the usual ones. You don't have to be the strongest, grandest, smartest, or bravest for someone to gain affection for you. Sometimes the character whose smile brings others joy, the character that makes people feel welcome to play, or the character who gives you the most refreshing change of pace can be enough. Enough for players to want to see this character again and be glad once they made another appearance. Later.